On how much do I need? First of all, you have to talk about the client goals. You have to talk about your goals. I mean, no one's going to know how much you need unless you really sit down with a planner and we understand your goals first. What I mean by that is what do you like to do on your free time? Get to know your client. I mean, every client that I have, I know on a personal level. Okay. And yes, obviously you keep business and personal a little bit separate, but you have to know them on a personal level. If you don't, then you're not getting to know your clients and you're not understanding what they want in retirement, what they want in their lives, how they live their life, what they like, what vacation they like to go on, how many grandkids they have, what they want their money to go to, right? So what they want to spend money on, right? So all these things matter. And that's what shows really how much you'll need. Now, I usually typically throw the range in there whenever you were working and you had that amount of money, right, that you were bringing in. And I usually go off of how comfortable you were with that. And then we can start from there. Okay. So we need to make up that goal immediately. So let's say you're making $100,000. Okay. And now you lost it all. Social Security maybe like 40 grand. Okay. You need to make up $60,000 a year. I always go by that number because people are like, well, I don't have much debt. It doesn't matter. I mean, if you don't use it and we give it to you, we can reinvest it. Right. But make sure that you're not limiting yourself on retirement. I think that's one of the worst places you can ever be in is when you limit yourself. I always want a client to live that lifestyle without having to worry about it. And one of the coolest things is when you get to talk to a retiree like yourself and say, hey, what do you want? You can make it happen. Okay. And I think maybe even make it happen even higher than they thought. Because a lot of the times advisors even tell you, well, we can do this or that. And it's like, no, that's their goals. That's not your goals. And that's what happens a lot of the times is I'm sure a lot of you retirees out there have the same problem. Your portfolio is based on what the company or the corporation thinks you should do instead of what you think you should do. And I think it's just that simple. And it doesn't need to be ran like that, right? It should never be ran like that. It should be the client's goals first, and then assess those goals and make a solution from that problem. Well, it's not really a problem. Let's just say it's a switch up or change in lifestyle, right? Because you're going from working to retirement. You want to be able to switch that lifestyle up in a most efficient and in an effective way. So second, though, Jim, is really when you're talking about, like you asked, how do I keep more of it?
Right.
And I think when you keep more of it, right, how to keep more of your money that you have invested, you got to split up income and growth. And I'm going to say this probably 10 more times in this episode because I really think people don't. I'm going to drill it in your brain the majority of every single episode. 99% of advisors aren't doing it. They're just not doing it. They're not giving the people what they need. Okay. And what the problem is they want to be selfish, right? The corporation trains these people to be selfish and to keep all the money in there and give you a certain amount, whatever you need. And then you're living the lifestyle of what the corporation wants you to live. Oh, you could get $5,000 a month. That's what we can do for you until it lasts forever. Okay. Well, when's the last time you asked that advisor, show me the plan, show me how in the heck that works, and show me which part of this? No, you don't ask that because you just trust the advisor or you trust the company, right? And that's what they're living off of, right? Is all those billions and billions of dollars that are all invested in these companies for retirees, and they're just sitting there. And that's why we have the biggest wealth transfer of the entire world happening in the next 10 years, because people lived like that. Okay. People took their money and they didn't use it for retirement. All right. That's not the way you want to live. And we have a different generation growing up now, right? People want to travel. I mean, I have retirees that are 80 years old and retirees that are 60. And my 60-year-olds want to travel a lot more than my 80-year-olds, obviously, right? And the 80-year-olds, oh, I'm good. I don't want anything. Goes to the kids, whatever. 60-year-olds are so much different. We have a new age coming about, Jim, and I love it. I love it. I think it's awesome, right? Because to be able to utilize and spend what you did, right? And you grown your kids up, right? You did what they needed to do. You put them in the position to succeed in their own way. And then now you can worry about you. Now you can really push the income side about what you want to do instead of what the company wants to do or what the kids want, right? It's about your retirement. So I think splitting up into growth and income and satisfying what you need first in the income portion, that leaves you all the growth room you want. Right. Let's say you got $1 million. Okay. And a lot of people out there averages around $1 million. Okay. Let's say we take 500 grand, we pay, 30 or 40 grand a year for the rest of your life. Okay. So you take care of that. Social Security's coming in. You got about $120,000 a year coming in, and you guys are living the dream, traveling whenever you want, going to the grandkids, doing whatever you need to do. The other $500,000 is compounding and growing. So the next 10 years, the rule of doubling, right, is 7 to 10 years. All of a sudden, you're looking at $1 million again in 10 years, but you're still getting paid out on that left side, right? That 500 grand that you put away for income is still paying out. So now you're generating still $120,000 a year when you're 75 years old, but now you still have $1 million in growth. You see where the difference is? These are the things that you have to look at personally and mathematically. Make sure that your growth is growing and you're not just taking money out and dwindling your portfolio. I see it all the time. And this is a big problem in the United States right now because no one wants to talk about it. But I'm here to tell you that there's a solution to that problem, and it's splitting up growth and income. It is. And it's going to compound and maximize one side, and it's going to make sure you're secure on the other side for the rest of your life. And then when you're 80 years old, you don't need that income anymore. Maybe you only need $60K a year or $80K a year. Okay. The other money you can invest however you want. Okay. But the solution was you're getting paid. Okay. And now you're keeping more. Right now, that growth side has gotten back up to $1 million to where if you want more income, let's position more. Right. You see how you're balancing the equation out, but you can't do that when everything's in one pot. And we talk about buckets all the time. Sadly, everyone's portfolio, everyone's retirement assets are majorly in what? The stock market. Right. Whether you want to look at it or not, you're in bonds or stocks or fixed income assets. You are. Mm-hmm. Right? I'd say majority of probably 80% of my clients, okay, have the majority of their money in the stocks, not even bonds. Okay. Now bonds are even worse. Okay. But with the stocks come risk. And I love the stock market. I absolutely love it. It's one of my favorite things. But at the same time, for the retirees out there, it doesn't work like that. Right? Stocks are great for what they're great for. They're great for long-term growth. Okay, they're not great for you to take out money out in the next month or next year or the year after. Okay, so stop treating it like that. Stop having your advisor treat it like that. Get someone to plan it out for your best interest. Make sure your fees are more efficient. You're not paying as many fees as you would on the bigger account and then the smaller account, right? Because when you were younger, you had less money. Understand how to break that up and really make sure it's tailored towards you. Okay, and last but not least, I know we need to go over this one because this is important, right? Is how do I make it last? And that goes along with what I literally just said. Okay. Separate the growth and the income. You will always have room for more income down the road if you do that. But no one's doing it. They're keeping it in the same pot, Jim, right? And this is where it's really frustrating because as a man, I want to really encourage anyone that has any questions about whether you're, want to retire now, want to retire in 5 years, or whether you just want to make a plan for retirement down the road. Okay. Have some thought processes, think about what your goals are and your needs are, and then meet someone to help plan those goals. Okay. Let's stop looking at what the company says to do and start looking at what you want to do. Right. Because if we put all of our ties in someone's hands, it's never going to work out for you. It's going to work out for the person that's controlling the money, right? You should be controlling your money and educating yourself in the efficient way of what you're doing and how that money and how that portfolio is affecting your retirement.